Omar Riyad here. I'm an Ableton 9 certified trainer and also a product specialist with WaveDNA, and today I wanted to show you using Liquid Rhythm alongside with Ableton 9. Now, what I'm using right now is a Max for Live patch that's designed by WaveDNA to bridge Liquid Rhythm with Ableton 9. The reason that this is done is so that I can use Ableton 9 natively, and using Liquid Rhythm's MIDI molecules is probably the best term I want to use. It allows me to create some drum patterns and restructure my clips on the fly to something that is kind of cool. Best way to actually demonstrate is to show you. So I have it bridging right now, and I have Liquid Rhythm, or Liquid Clips as we like to call it, working in the background. So as soon as I create an empty MIDI clip, that information gets cross-populated. It takes a look at my drum rack and sees that I have about 5 samples and any information that I wanted to add. So for example, if I start adding any bass drum, clap information, let me add a snare as well, all that stuff gets thrown over into my MIDI editor in Ableton. So it kind of allows me to do some quick creation of a drum pattern, either in Ableton or in Liquid Rhythm, whichever one you get more comfortable with, and then I can kind of use that to launch my clips. Just gonna turn down the reverb a little bit. Now, the cool thing about this is that alongside with using it for your drum racks, you have to remember that drum racks don't just necessarily have to host drums. In this drum rack, I have a bunch of samples with the same root note of E, and I can utilize this to create some rhythmically intelligent melody patterns. This is similar to using an arpeggiator. The only difference is that this one is actually trying to create patterns that have stronger accents, weaker accents, and this is stuff that an arpeggiator would never do. An arpeggiator is just going to be playing a song in arpeggio, either repeating it at certain note intervals. This is nothing like that. It's a lot more powerful than something like that. So I'm going to use some of these tools at the bottom, which is a randomizer, and I'm going to apply some random bar structures. And I've instantly just applied a bunch of bar structures into my clips in Ableton, and I can now utilize these, which is a collaborate tool. Same thing. I'm not going to be getting too much into the explanation of how these operate. I did want to just show how quickly I can use them to kind of apply tools. To just the loopers. Bring down some of these accent patterns. To just those. There we go. And let's just try one more in a random fashion, and let's select pretty much everything. There we go. Surprising. And pretty much just dialing up a few things with Liquid Rhythm, I've managed to create a random sample pattern. Now, this randomizer box at the bottom, it allows me to control pretty much anything based on the structure. So the top, these little check boxes allow me to activate or deactivate certain sections of it. First one being for bar forms, the second one being for beat forms, meaning any division of the bar, and the bottom one is collaborate. Collaborate is probably the most one that most requires explanation. Collaborate would basically apply similar information to like-minded instruments. So for example, if I have an open and a closed hi-hat and I want them both to be playing a certain pattern but not necessarily at the same time because there's only one hi-hat pattern allowed, I can turn on collaborate and then ensure that none of these samples are going to be playing at the same time, which as you can see, I only have one sample being triggered off the same time. So it allows me to not have them interfering with each other. So with this collaborate tool, you can choose the method that is collaborating based on notes, beat forms, accent patterns, or the accent substructures, and then you can decide which way it's doing it. You can do it in a random fashion, which I chose, sawtooth, or sine. And basically, if I have it applied on notes, it shouldn't make too drastic of a difference, but it will allow just gives a subtle different change to some of these clips. And if I'm always happy with what I've created and I want to try some other options, all you can do is just make a duplicate, and then you've kept your original version. Same thing. Go into this clip. Let's select all, and let's actually select a couple of new samples too. Have some random being applied to this. And it's actually kind of a cool way to start building up your little pre-production and some of the substructures. And then if I wanted to even create even more denser drum patterns, the same thing I could do is I can actually select some of these hi-hat patterns, use this little step sequencer, beatform sequencer as well, to actually select some 16th notes, some 30-second notes, some triplet values, and my hi-hat pattern instantly becomes, you know, a little more dense. Everything here is MIDI mappable as well, so as soon as I hit Command M on my keyboard, every section, including this whole step sequencer, which lo and behold is an 8x8 button matrix. Haha, you can use your launchpad, you can use your Cuneo, you can use your push, you can use anything that you have that's MIDI mappable, including iPads with Touch OSC, and instantly apply some of these substructures and just map them across on the pad. All you do is hit a couple of buttons, and suddenly you got a drum pattern that sounds like you spent a couple of hours creating. So this is a little bit of a tool that I was hesitant to show to everybody because it's kind of one of those secret tricks that you don't want to share because people are like, oh my gosh, how did you do that? And you don't want to say that, hey, I just dialed up a couple of buttons in this software and it did it for me. So that's a basic overview of how to use liquid clips and liquid rhythm in Ableton 9. I would recommend highly, if you have a chance, to get a trial version, download it. It's off of WaveDNA.com. You can always search liquid rhythm, see a couple more tutorial videos, and if you ever need any further explanation, feel free to hit us up. And emails and contact information are all on the website. So thanks very much. This is Omar Riyad here, signing off. Take care.